Second. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Virtual TrekCon. This is a really cool documentary panel. The production team that brought you the Deep Space Nine documentary, For the Love of Spock, a bunch of other great ones we're going to get into, the upcoming Voyager documentary. We do have also a very special guest, Mr. Jeffrey COMBS.
Where
I wish I knew.
Yeah.
But the panelists are Kevin and Helene Lane, Joe Kornbrot, and Mr. David Zappone. So everybody in the comments, let us know if you have any questions. Maybe we'll get a chance to get to them, but we've got a lot to talk to. So let's get started. How you guys doing?
Great.
As well as can be expected.
It's a beautiful day.
Thank you.
Oh, and by the way, Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
It's not 2020 anymore.
So let's start off with what we left behind. It was huge. It was amazing. Star Trek nerds like myself went ballistic for it. We really loved it. What can you guys tell us about it that you haven't already said before? How was it working with the talent that is Mr. Jeff COMBS?
Well,
very difficult to manage him. The ego was tough at times.
It's
But no,
Jeff, personalities, Dave.
Jeff was awesome. Let's be honest.
Jeff, as long as I had just the red M&Ms, I was okay.
Well, one thing I'll say about everybody involved with Deep Space Nine is we appreciated their patience because it took. All right, Joe, what year did we start? 2012, 13?
We started in
2012.
David, you and I
2012.
7 years
across the desert to the convention.
Yep. So 7 years, and Jeff, you hung in there, and you guys, you, Casey, Andy, anybody we asked for help gave it. I don't think we were ever told no.
Well, you guys also had to work really sort of burrow down to figure out in its gestation period what kind of format you were going to do. How could you make this unique? And landing on Ira being our MC was inspired because all roads lead to Ira when it comes to Deep Space Nine. So,
and I know Ira's told the story before, but yeah, that was an extension of our friendship that we formed working on the Shatner documentaries, because Ira's in The Captain's Close-Up for Avery Brooks, and he's in Get a Life. And we had just done, and Chaos on the Bridge. So we had just done Chaos on the Bridge with Bill Shatner, and Bill had basically said that's enough of Star Trek for me right now. And I didn't blame him, because he really had no connection to Deep Space Nine to continue. So I essentially said to Ira, would you be Bill? Would you fulfill Bill's role as interviewer and take us on this journey? And who better than the showrunner? And it was such a unique experience for us. I think the guys will agree. We had a legitimate writer showrunner. We had a board. We're breaking down scenes. It was an incredible experience, thanks to Ira.
Also, if anybody's going to ask people in front of and behind the camera if they would like to be a part of this, who's going to say no to Ira?
No one. No.
Real quick, guys, this is the elephant in the room that Matt Letek mentions. The mustache looks great. I'm assuming that's you, Jeff.
Really? It does? I don't know.
Could be Joe.
There you go.
Also, our good friend Lolita Fat Joe.
I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to upstage Jeff.
Lolita's here.
I didn't want to upstage Jeff, but
Lolita eventually will be here.
She'll be in and out.
Technical issues.
And also, one more thing very quickly while we figured that out, our good friend Melissa Longo says hello to everybody.
Oh, hello. How are you? How are you, Melissa?
Hello, Melissa.
Guys, it's her birthday in 2 days, by the way. Everybody at home, it's her birthday in 2 days.
Happy birthday, Melissa.
Okay.
Happy birthday 2 days early.
What's interesting about DS9 is that we went out to Las Vegas to do the convention. And that's the first time that we had a chance to sit down with the cast. And so we did that initial shoot with Ira, where we got the cast together. We had to do them in 2 separate sittings because there were so many. But that first get together where everybody's just kind of bouncing back and forth, that's something that we really wanted to do. We wanted to get the spontaneity of each other just sitting around and talking about the series and talking about their perspectives and their insights. And so, after that happened, Dave, we kind of went on a little bit of a hiatus there, right? Because then we got involved with.
Well, then I got the famous call from Mr. Leonard Nimoy, who asked me, that was 2014, if I would work with Adam and do For the Love of Spock. So, yeah, that certainly derailed us. And then Ira went to Scotland to work on Outlander. So we sort of, always stayed in touch, always intended to come back to it. But yeah, we had to take a bit of a detour. And then I got a phone call. As I recall, what started us up again was when Ira called and said, "Hey, Dave, I got a great idea. I don't know if you're going to like it. How about if I get the writer's room together and we break a mythical season 8? And I think that's where the film just took on.
That was the best idea ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was super fun, being in a room with these guys all afternoon. We had Joe and I were shooting. We had, another camera, and we're just trying to being a fly on the wall with all of these guys, spitting ideas and Ira sort of steering the ship. And it was very, very cool insight.
And as Jeff said, who else but Ira could get an entire writers team together again? What was it, 15 years later? And they would all drop everything and say yes. I mean, that's a testament to the loyalty of Ira.
It's also a lineage, guys. Back in the day when we were,
the whole cast, the whole crew,
actually,
everybody was there.
Back in the day when we were actually shooting DS9 and on the lot, I have this really, really vivid image of walking towards the Hart Building on the lot, which is where the writers' offices were. And as I approached the building, Ira and all of those writers stepped out, and it was like something out of a Tarantino movie. There should have been a soundtrack. It was a posse, man, and they were. I just remember standing back and going, "Now that is a clump of talent right there."
And young too.
And all those years later, there they are breaking down an imaginary 8th season. So great.
And Jeff, I know you've told it a million times, but when did you first meet Ira?
Meet him? Probably on set somewhere. I don't really remember. You're multitasking at that point. Yeah, hi, how are you? But Ira tells the story, and this really sort of irks me, that he knew who I was. I didn't know that, but he knew who I was from Reanimator. Right. Nice. And he told me a story years later that he was in a Gelson's market and saw me and did not say anything to me, did not approach me, walked right by me. And that really bothers me because it's like, why did you do that? We could have started this friendship years earlier, but that's Ira. He probably thought, I don't. Yeah, I'm sort of like that too. I don't approach people if I see them. I let them be, but still.
And you guys have remained close to this day, as I can attest to. Yeah, very close.
Yeah, I talk to him maybe a week or so ago. We just check in, not so much during the shutdown and COVID and all that. We'll check in with each other, but it's a lot harder to have a lunch and commiserate now, as we all know. But he's a dear friend of mine, and that's one of the things that I treasure most out of Deep Space Nine. Is when I started, I didn't really know Ira. He was my boss, and gradually over the years we became closer and bonded as friends way beyond the set. So I hold that dear.
Very quickly, Joe, some people want to make sure you don't feel left out about your beard. It's very fine. They say that's our good friend Bill Erickson out in the Blue Montana skies. Now, you guys have been, 455 Films has been making Star Trek documentaries for 10 years, or documentaries as a whole. And I don't know if people know the extent to which you've been making these documentaries. It's an extremely long list, and it's really impressive. And I didn't know about it until a couple months ago. Can you guys go over this extensive list very quickly?
Yeah, well, this is a unique opportunity for Kevin and I have been together since the beginning, since the first documentary was Gonzo Ballet, which was not Star Trek, but did touch upon Star Trek, and that was with Bill Shatner. So, Kev, you want to kind of tell our story?
Yeah, I mean, David and I met, David, Helene and I met actually through a mutual friend of ours down in Florida. And the famous story is that David bought the ticket at Bill's, one of Bill's charity events. And then that's how he came to know Bill. And Bill had a property that he had been wrestling with called Gonzo Ballet. And he wasn't really happy. He had been through several cuts, and he really didn't know what to do with it. And David said, well, I think we can do something with it. And so he and I met through a mutual friend, and there was a production company, David, called the Independent Production Company.
Yeah.
And so that property came to us, and Helene and I started working on it in our office, and we got a couple of cuts out, and then we started discussing it with David and his team at the time, and then this mutual friend got Bill to do an interview for the film because he had done an interview. It wasn't great. And so we did another interview, and that's really the first time David and I in Los Angeles kind of met on the day, well, I guess the night before the shoot, Dave.
Yeah, it was.
And so what's the theater again?
It's Gary Marshall's theater in Toluca Lake, the Falcon Theater.
Across Bob's.
Bob's Big Boy.
Yeah.
It was great. And Kev, I just knew right away, Kev, meeting you were perfect to interview Bill because of your nature and the way you can elicit things out of people that they wouldn't otherwise say. And what ended up happening is he gave just a tremendous, vulnerable, honest interview, right?
Yes, he really, really did. It was during the writer's strike too, Dave, and he had just had hip replacement surgery.
Yeah, he was on a cane. Yeah,
a very unique situation. But the bottom line is that property ended up becoming something that David entered in some festivals. We got some play. It got a nice variety write-up. Went to Nashville Film Festival, and that
Marbella, Spain. Yeah, we traveled with the film, San Diego, and so basically, then out of that. Bill and I were sitting around kicking around ideas. He really enjoyed the collaboration. And we said, why don't we interview the captains of Star Trek? Let's see if there's a common thread. And who else but Bill could make that phone call to get all the captains. And so we ended up, Kevin and I, doing the captains.
Yeah, the thing with Bill is he's such a freestyle guy, right? I mean, there was no you know, he didn't have a master plan going in, and it was exploratory. So we just, you know, we ended up shooting a lot of stuff, a lot of very insightful information about the actors and the sacrifices. You know, when you're on the series, and Jeff knows better than anybody, when you're on a series for this long, it consumes your life, and it changes the dynamics of your life and your relationships. So,
and that's when I got to step in, because we realized that Bill hadn't really asked anybody else about Star Trek, because he wasn't really that familiar with any of the other series. So after we went through all the footage, we realized that we had a really different movie, because Bill asked him about the things that he was interested in. And so the fans, I think, really like the captains, because he talks about things with them that no one else had ever asked them.
Wow.
Yeah, and Kate and Avery, I mean, you know, those were fascinating for us, because we got a chance to, you know, get a sense of these people, you know, behind the characters. We hadn't had a chance of being this close, and Kate was fantastic. We became big Kate fans after that, and Avery too. Avery sat down at a piano, and Bill interviewed him at the piano. So there was a lot of rich stuff there, but it took a while to sort of form that and what that movie should end up being. And the scary part is we had literally 6 months from the time that we got from the time that we started editing to the air date.
Hmm.
And I'll say on a personal note, one thing that came out of it for me is this friendship that I have to this day with Avery Brooks.
Wow.
Yeah, just really.
If you talk to him, please give him my best.
I will, Jeff. Yeah, he's become a mentor to me, and it's really amazing, because I was a fan of Deep Space Nine from the jump, and to get a call from Captain Sisko is still exciting. It always will be. Jeff, I will give him your best.
That was the Jazz Hands reference, guys. Because Avery Brooks.
Avery Brooks.
Then our next film we made was Get a Life, right?
Yeah, and then we went on to Get a Life, which was really digging into fandom and how Star Trek has influenced so many people. Inspired them to go on and become professionals in different walks of life.
And Jeff, that's where I met you, because I remember Bill and I came to see a performance of you doing Poe.
Oh, wow.
Was that in Vegas?
No, I think it was. Did you ever do it in New Jersey? Parsippany, maybe?
No. I remember.
So then it had to be Vegas. Yeah.
I remember him. I don't know if he saw the show. I really don't, but I do remember him kind of showing up in my preset kind of.
We came
my
in
tech. I remember him, and that's sort of a worlds colliding. I'm sure he was probably like, "What exactly are you doing, Poe, at a Star Trek convention?" And there really is no connection other than creation asked me to do it, but it was sort of a non sequitur.
Yeah, but then it's something that you just did on the cruise, by the way.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It seems like 9 years ago.
Joe jumped in on Get a Life for the captain's close.
So when I met you, a quick moment, I just want to give a shout out to Kieran McGreevy, who I see is on the comments. And
Happy
Kieran
birthday,
has worked with Alita and has helped us for so many of our projects.
Happy belated birthday.
I just want to give Kieran a great shout out.
Yeah, Kieran's been very helpful.
His birthday was last week. So to get to what Kevin was saying is, you guys had been in production. You were in post-production on Get a Life when I met you, but I came in to put together Still Kicking, the conversation between Shatner and Christopher Plummer. And from that, I ended up helping Kevin, and I restructured some of Get a Life. I did some editorial. Drew Umland did most of the editorial on that. But
And
at the end, Kevin and I did that, and then I helped shepherd that through post.
And Drew did the animation open, which was
sorry, say that again, Kev.
And then Joe, your trial by fire, I would say, was the captain's close-ups. That's what we really and Kevin.
Yeah, and that was I was working on that while you guys started shooting Chaos. I was what you did that day at JPL with Ira and Maury, and there were 4 interviews that day there. Who else was there? Oh, it was I remember Maury and Ira. Oh, Richard Arnold, and there was somebody else that you interviewed
Tracy
at JPL.
I forget.
No, Tracy was at Audio Head. But anyways, so you said, here, take a stab at it. My first episode of The Captains was the Avery Brooks. And I remember just watching that interview of his and just trying to wrap my head around it. And yeah, it was a challenge. I mean, he had a lot to say, but he says it in an Avery way. And trying to, as an editor, you're always looking for the way to get the point across quickly. And it was a challenge to quickly do that with the way Avery phrases things. But I think we ultimately, with Dave's help and Kevin and Helene's input, we got there. And yeah, I'm very happy with that episode.
Avery.
I love all the captain's close-ups.
Yeah. Well, Bill's episode was the hardest for us because what happened, right, is that after we did the captains, there was so much footage that Bill said, let's just do a half hour on everybody, not taking into account that we hadn't actually done an interview with him. So we had interview footage for everybody else, but all we really had was Kate turning the tables on Bill. So that was the beginning of the structure for his half hour. But after that, we really dug into everything that we had on Bill up to then. So his half hour isn't like anybody else's. It's really our little love letter to Bill.
Yeah, what's cool about Bill's half hour is there's a very vulnerable moment. He was doing the one-man show, Dave, in New York. He hadn't been back to Broadway in 20 or 30 years, and he was really ill. And opening night. And Liz was filming him, I guess, on the phone in the back seat of the driver, the limo on the way, and he did not look good. And he, and
the show must go on.
And the show must go on, and he did a great job. So, but that was pretty insightful. Bill is like not to be denied. We had such a good time with Bill. He's such a force of nature. And on all the shoots with him, you just hitch your wagon up and hold on, and
try and keep up.
Yeah, I mean, really, really, really a force. Even at this age, hasn't slowed down much. A lot.
He's turning 90 this year, by the way.
Unbelievable!
Wow.
Can I just say something here? I just want to say I'm looking at all of the comments that people are leaving over here. I found the comments button, and it's just lovely.
Yeah. I was just gonna ask you, Jeff, if you've been seeing these comments, because you're getting about 1,000 of these.
It may look like I'm not paying attention, but I'm paying attention to the fans. They're so great.
One of the questions, and we can only spend a few seconds on this because we've got about 15 minutes left. But Jeff, one of the questions that maybe you'd like to address, somebody asked if you're growing the mustache for any kind of role or if it's just for fun.
Yes, because I'm here to tell you, if I grew a mustache for the whim of it, my wife would not be happy. Nor would I. I don't really like to sport a mustache unless it's for a role. So yes, it's something coming up, and can't really talk about it. Okay, but hey, it's work, so this is good. But yes, it's for a purpose.
Is Lolita on?
No,
but I was technical issues with her, so she can't quite.
I was hoping one of you. Well, two things very quickly. Number one, David, for everybody that wants to see all of these awesome documentaries directed by William Shatner, is there a way that they could watch them all?
There absolutely is. The Shout Factory just released the Captain's Collection, and you can go to their website, and it's pretty amazing. I mean, it's every single documentary that we did with Bill, including Gonzo Ballet, and the extended version of the Chris Plummer Shatner interview, Still Kicking, which has never been seen before. And Joe, we have an entire disc of special features. How many hours are we talking there? 3?
Yeah, we have I think 2.5 hours of new special features, mostly extended interviews from Chaos on the Bridge and from the captains, and yeah, so we have all that plus the original special features that run for
an extended interview with Mr. Irish
Get a Life.
Yep,
it's
That's
amazing,
right.
and we're going to
Chaos on the Bridge.
Right, we'll include the link to that in the description box below. This is simulcasting on a multitude of platforms right now. We'll put it in all of them. It might take a little bit of time, but it will be done today. So everybody check in the description box below for that. Also, we've got a few minutes left before we pivot on to something very, very important, which is the upcoming Voyager documentary that's going to blow everybody's minds. Before we jump into that, since Lolita is not here, can one of you just say a little thing about what she does, what she has done, and what she will be doing?
Jeff, you'd be qualified to speak on Lolita.
I've known Lolita for a very long time. You know, she started out working in production and transitioned when conventions started to become practically back in the day every weekend to represent actors. And for many, many years, Lolita has represented a coterie of us, just a whole group of actors, and not an easy task, like herding cats, cats with egos. And so she does a masterful job at it, and we love her and we miss her. We usually see her a little more than this, but
and she's been a big help with our films.
Right. And the fans love her as well, I know. So I'm frustrated that she's not here with us.
We all are. Chaos. One last thing about Chaos.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about Chaos that really gave it a signature was that we wound up going to Romania to have the animation done, which was which was a really unique sort of style and look that we kind of hadn't anticipated at first. But when we saw it, we fell in love with it. So, yeah, man. Very cool.
I shot a movie in Romania once.
Yeah,
And Jeff, wasn't Lolita instrumental in the Rat Pack, the creation of the Star Trek Rat Pack?
Yeah, my memory is not always the greatest. I do recall it was Lolita that came to me and said, listen, Creation would like for guests to not just sign and take photos and do Q&As, but maybe something a little more unique and special. You think that like you would like to join up with Max and Casey, I believe, were sort of cornerstones, and form kind of a Star Trek Rat Pack. I'm like, well, what? Okay, I'm not that musical, but I'll fake it, I guess. And then a whole other wing of Star Trek blossomed out of that. We just have a gas doing that. It's just so. Yeah, she was at the forefront of that vision.
And it's become a mainstay of all the conventions. I think you guys have been in every one I've been at. You've done
so good.
It's a joy for us all to get back together every time. You know, I miss it. I miss it a lot. It's something's missing in my life without us doing that. But
well, the last time we saw you was on the Star Trek cruise, and you guys were performing on that.
We did 2 performances on the Star Trek cruise, yeah, as last time we did it. And and it went really well. We had a wonderful time doing that. And the fun thing about the Rat Pack is we're constantly cycling in new stuff and shelving things, but pulling them off the shelf whenever it's appropriate. So we got a thick book there.
Nice.
Thanks to Max for the libretto. Yeah.
Now, guys, let's talk about
Ryan, 1 sec, just a shameless plug.
Sure.
If you want to see the Rat Pack on film,
Yes.
get What We Left Behind on Blu-ray.
yes.
You guys close out.
Nice. So I do want to talk about the cruise a bit more, but yeah, that's part of what I want to say beforehand. Everybody, if you have not seen the Star Trek or Deep Space Nine Rat Pack, you owe it to yourself. However you can do it, get this Blu-ray, go to conventions. Jeff, when you guys are not doing it, there's something missing in our lives too. It's the most glorious thing. I look forward to it in every convention. It's the highlight.
And the thing that we love about it is, it's a bit of a frustration for me. Is like, how come we're not Saturday night? Okay, how come
no, it's better to close. It's better to close. It's beautiful.
But we've always closed, and it's a great way to bring it all together and say goodbye until next time.
Bringing it home.
Bringing it home.
Speaking of which, just a few minutes left. Let us talk about the upcoming Voyager documentary. First and foremost, we've got a question here that we may not be able to fully address. Please ask about crowdfunding opportunities for the Voyager documentary. So I want to participate. Now, everybody, I don't think we'll cover that right here and now, but I will say that if you look at this video just below in the description box, it'll say next VTC video. In 10 minutes, a video will premiere. It will be Garrett Wong making a huge announcement about the Voyager documentary. So once this video is over, just click the link just below it. It'll take you right to it. And all your questions will be answered, or like one or two. But before that, we do have a few minutes to talk about the Voyager documentary, which you shot a lot of it already so far on this cruise, right?
Yeah, well, we were fortunate enough, thanks to Lolita and to CBS and to the cruise, the company itself, that we were allowed unprecedented access. I mean, we shot, guys, were we like 16-hour days? I'm not exaggerating. Using every
you guys shot a lot of the Rat Pack, didn't you? I seen your cameras over there and around there in the periphery.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we had 3 cameras, which was great. And Jeff, you can speak to the quality, the sound quality and the lighting of that room on the ship was excellent.
Listen, when you go to these cruises, you think, oh my God, we're in a boat, we're in the middle of these are state-of-the-art theater complexes on these boats with crews that are like, yeah, we have that. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we could. No, this is better. Yeah. How about these mics? How about this light? How about it is, you want a baby grand, roll that thing out. It is spectacular. So we were in really great tech hands for sure.
Yeah, the production value, we were blown away. It's the best looking footage we've gotten thus far. And then to have the ability to go off the ship was incredible. Joe, were you going to say something?
The promoters, they did such a fabulous job technically.
Yeah. That's the thing. They're used to doing Broadway quality shows. I mean, these cruises, it's a cornerstone of a cruise, is this terrific entertainment. So they really gave us everything we needed. I don't think they said no to us.
Wow. I think it's a combination of not only what's on the ship, but also the company that leased the ship for the Star Trek cruise has its own production company that kind of blends with these people, and they have their own sort of approach to it. And the two of them together was we were just in a basket of support. It was amazing.
Very cool to have thousands of Star Trek fans on a cruise that's leaving port and going to multiple ports. We got a lot of insightful fandom interviews, but it was really an exploratory when we first started out, right, Dave? Because we didn't shoot that much. I mean, we shot some.
We didn't know what we were going to get, but then
we were there for
8 days, yeah. And then was that
well,
Lolita?
if you guys had stopped drinking, you might have gotten more. That's another story.
Lolita?
Lolita
literally
is here.
doing 16-hour days, Jeff.
That's the longest hours I've ever worked. That consistently. I mean, that was intense.
Yeah,
so that Lolita can watch the end of this a little later.
That was some of the
I was just going to say, everybody in the comments section, leave a ton of comments with a lot of love for Lolita.
We can hear you. Your picture is frozen, but we heard you when you said, "Can you hear me?"
All right.
I just wanted to say, from a production point of view, we had a great time. It was wonderful.
Well,
it was some of the hardest
technical
production I've ever done.
difficulties, but Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I just hope that you guys maybe will get around to interviewing me for the Voyager documentary. I know at one point you were going to, and then you canceled the date. That's okay. That's fine. I wasn't.
Jeff, you were in Voyager? What?
Exactly. Yes, I was. I did a very pivotal. I did the episode with The Rock.
Yep.
And I remember him saying, "You can call me Dwayne." And I remember thinking, Dwayne? Okay. This is before this was when he was a wrestling star.
Right.
And this mega movie star thing was not even in its infancy, really. So it was amazing.
Wasn't that his first acting role? I think it was, right?
I don't know, but it was one of his first, for sure.
Certainly one of them, yeah.
Yeah.
But that was it's a very surreal experience, because doing Deep Space Nine, you'd look across the road to where Voyager was shooting, because those two productions were going at the same time. But I'd never been in those sound stages. And so it was kind of like literally an alternate universe. The same, but really different. And then many years later, of course, with Enterprise, those were the same sound stages that Enterprise used, that Voyager used. So,
and I'm speaking to you right above them right now, because my office is above stages 8 and 9.
Wow.
I know right where you are.
You know where I am. I'm looking at stage 18 right outside of my window.
Now everybody knows where you are.
Was right down the hall from you.
Oh, yeah?
He was right on the corner at the end of the building. If you go out your door and turn left, and that door straight ahead, that was Mike Westmore's office.
Oh, wow. Yeah, this was all Star Trek, right, Jeff? It was a lot of production.
I guess, yeah. I think there was a lot of production.
Because they still to this day call this Star Trek Alley.
Right.
The thing about this cruise, and of course we saw Jeffrey performing as well, besides the Rat Pack, and he was mind-blowing, as he always is. But one of the things, the thing of this, one of the elements of this documentary is that once we stepped off that boat, we stepped into a year of COVID, essentially. Right. And everything changed. The world changed. We were like one of the last ships, I think, that they allowed in port.
Listen to this. I remember that we were totally aware of COVID before we left. No doubt about it. And the protocols were don't shake hands, do elbow bumps, and use a lot of hand sanitizer. That was it.
That was it.
And I remember getting on the plane to fly back from Miami to LA, and the guy behind me was wearing a mask. And I thought, that's a little, okay, well, all right. Well, who doesn't wear a mask? I mean,
it's a glimpse into the future.
Literally, Jeff, within 2 weeks, we had the shutdown. It's incredible how
we barely got in.
People just barely.
The last
to get that cruise done.
I know.
The last time I saw Kevin that was the last time I saw Kevin and Jeff in person.
Yes.
That was, you know,
That's
8 months ago now.
Yeah, that's the last time any of us saw
Anybody.
before we went into you know, solitary confinement.
See Dave, and I've actually seen Lolita, but it's very, there's a small group of people to fly for sure.
Now, guys, we do have to run here. We've got a giant announcement your team does via Mr. Garrett Wong, who played Ensign Harry Kim on Voyager for 7 years. But before we go, David, do you want to just give 30 seconds worth about what people can expect on the Voyager documentary, or to really hype them up for it?
Yeah, sure. I mean, what happened to us is with COVID, I mean, we were planning on going to Germany, to Vegas, to London, and obviously that all stopped. Our hope is that surely these are going, now with the vaccines rolling out, this will be the year where Voyager can finally get its moment in the sun, because the only time they were together for the 25th anniversary was the cruise. But we found we've been doing some Zoom interviews. We've actually done a few in-person interviews since the cruise. So our plan is to just move forward and to get it. COVID be damned. We're going to make this film.
Well,
I think we're all excited.
The Deep Space Nine documentary was eye-opening how amazing it was from a fan's point of view. It just blew me away, and others, and everybody was so proud of it and happy about it. So we're really happy that you guys are doing another one. This one is going to pay homage to Voyager. Now 26 years later, it's going to be huge. It's going to be amazing. We really can't wait for it. We appreciate what you guys are doing. Like, from a fan standpoint, this is amazing what you guys do for us.
Thank you.
So we are going to end this. Everybody, please click the link just below this video. It'll say next VTC video here. It's going to be Garrett Wong's big announcement. You do not want to miss it. It's quick. It's amazing. It's going to blow your mind, and you're going to walk away saying 2021 is going to be pretty cool. I hope.
I just want to say before we go here, the fan comments, it's just so heartwarming. Kind of makes me choke up. It's just such sweet. We are a family, and I love y'all.
Absolutely.
Great. Thanks very much, Kevin, Helene, Joe, Jeff, David, and Lolita.
And the Vorta.
We'll see y'all very soon. Thanks very much. Happy 2021.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks, Jeff.
Ryan.
Thanks a lot.